Well, it isn't often that I can sit across a man and without a doubt say he is one of the legends of the game. In fact, wisdom says he is one of the 5 cricketers of the century. But Shane Warne doesn't take himself quite that seriously. Thank you very much for talking to us.
No problem, my pleasure.
Let me begin by asking you, can you still rip a leg break as far as you used to a year or so ago?
I hope so. Now, look, I've been bowling a little bit in the nets. I've been doing a lot of work with Cricket Australia with the young spinners and the captains around each state. So I've been bowling a bit in the nets and they're coming out okay.
They're coming out okay and they're spinning.
Not bad.
And they're spinning across the rough like they used to and torment batsmen across the world.
You know, I'm more of encouragement now. There's not so much sledging, it's just bowling now. But look, it's been really exciting doing that. I'm really excited about the IPL. I'm playing for the emerging media. I think that's we've got quite an exciting side actually. So I'm looking forward to it.
Shane, there was a time, not very long ago, it seems like a long time ago, but when Cricket Australia decided that you couldn't be captain because you were a bit of a bad boy. Now you're a captain and a coach. What a transformation. Has the man changed?
I think, look, we all get older, don't we? I'm 38 years of age. I like to think I've matured a little bit. I think with the experience of the captaincy and sort of captain coach as I am for the emerging media, I've been captain of Hampshire for the last 4 years. We've won more championship games than any other county. We're one of the best sides in the competition, and we didn't have a coach. We had a team manager who organised a lot of the other things, whether it be the nets and recovery sessions and physios and gym and all those sort of things that if the players like to do that. So I was given a free rein to run the whole of the cricket basically and work out the players, selection, all those types of things. And it worked. I found it worked really well. I gave a lot of responsibility to the players. Not many of us like being told you have to be here at this time, do that, do that. But look, I was a pretty hard taskmaster and I had pretty high standards that I expected. But I think one of the things in one-day cricket, 2020 cricket, is about everyone understanding their role and what role they have to play, what time they're going to bat, when they're going to actually, is it just to bat the overs out at the top of the innings? Is it to get off to a flyer when you're bowling? Am I taking wickets? Am I defending? So giving the roles to all the players, and I thought that worked really well at Hampshire as captain of the club. And so I'm looking forward to speaking to Fraser and Ravi and working out our strategy that we've had the whole time, where people sort of looked at Jaipur and said, what are they doing, these guys? What are the emerging media doing? What's their strategy? What's their plan? And we had a strategy and plan the whole way. And I think now that everybody's seen us put it together, I think they're starting to think, geez, I think these guys know what they're doing. So we've got our own little plans. We've got a few different ideas about 2020 and a few things that when you watch us play, you might think, wow, I didn't think of that. So hopefully we'll be entertainers. We'll all go out there and entertain. And I think everyone's got us as probably one of the lowest ranked sides, but we might just surprise a few.
Yeah, in fact, wasn't one of Shane Warne's famous quotable quotes was, a coach is something that you get to the ground in.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that
Ian
once?
Chappell originally said a coach is something that you travel to and from the ground in, and I repeated that about our old coach, John Buchanan. So I think we come up against him, so the reason I'm captain, I suppose, and coach is we don't need a coach.
And so the boys would have Shane Warne as the coach, not someone who's going to just take them to the ground, but be a hard taskmaster, as you're saying.
It'd be tough driving the bus.
All right. Let me ask you, of course, the big news story emerging about Shane Warne is that you don't want to play first-class cricket anymore. Why is that? You were just talking about the enjoyment you get out of Hampshire.
Yeah, look, it's not as though I don't want to play. Look, my heart has been in Hampshire cricket for 8 seasons I've been involved there. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Hampshire. With the IPL, I believe in the IPL concept. I think getting international players together from whether it be India, Pakistan, Australia, South Africa, all over the world, to get them together and then play against each other, some of your teammates, I think is an exciting concept. And I think the way the IPL is, the players that are involved, I just think that's a really exciting concept. So for 6 weeks, I retired from international cricket to spend more time with my family, devote more time to my charity, the Shane Warne Foundation, which we've given away $2 million. My business side of things, which is going extremely well. So if I was to do another couple of months in Hampshire, or 2 or 3 months in Hampshire, 6 weeks, a couple of months in India, with my business, my foundation, everything else, my children unfortunately suffer. So something had to give, and unfortunately that was Hampshire.
All right, now the IPL 2020, you mentioned a little bit about that. Let's talk about 2020 cricket in general a little bit. Now, Shane, one of the things you've said is how it will impact one-day cricket. You've got very outspoken views on that. Do you see an impact? What impact do you see on one-day cricket? And more importantly, what impact do you see on Test cricket?
I think 2020 will have the same effect that one-day cricket had on Test cricket, for instance. I think you watch Test cricket now, everyone scores at 3, 3.5, sometimes 4 runs and over. Now, if you go back maybe probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that was, it really just started. It used to be 2 runs and over and someone would bat all day and maybe get 100. Now they're batting a session. So I think by playing a lot more 2020 cricket, a lot more one-day cricket, then I think that's starting to rub off on Test cricket. And I think it rubs off on every form of the game. Now 2020 to me is an exciting form of the game. It's like going to the movies. It's entertainment. And it's quick. You can take your girlfriend to there. If they don't want to sit through 5 days and sit there all day, they can go to 2020 and you can still take them out for dinner afterwards. So there's a lot of things that gets a different demographic of people. It's great for kids. I also think it's a great brand. It's great advertisement for the game of cricket worldwide. And to do it with all the best players in the world playing at one particular time, then I think that's really exciting.
Is 50-over cricket finished?
Look, I don't think it's finished. I've been involved with Hampshire, as you said before, and I think Pro 40 overs was a big difference between 40 overs and 50 overs. It's basically 2 20-20 games. And you have your first 15 overs with the restrictions, and then there's really 10 or 12 overs only in the middle before the whack starts and the slog starts again. So 40 over, I think it's got a real role to play. Or you forget the one-day cricket, you go Test cricket in 2020 and that's it. It means tours will be shorter, so you can fit more tours in or players get more recovery time if you just have 2020 and Test cricket. So there are different scenarios there, but I don't think one-day cricket can still be exciting, but a lot depends on the captains and the way teams play.
Let's talk about the Jaipur team. You touched on it briefly. A lot of unknown players, in a sense, and a lot of fringe players from international teams as well. Well, maybe not fringe players, but not superstars like the ones other teams can claim. You mentioned that as part of a strategy. Is that something that you now look back and say, perhaps I should have had 3 or 4 more big-name players, maybe a Gale, or maybe a Sarvan from the West Indies, or maybe a Dale Steyn for fiery fast bowling? Do you miss out on departments, you think?
I don't think so. I think one of the exciting things is the Indian players as well that we've got. Some young, quick bowlers, 6'6" fast bowlers. We've got some good all-rounders, some young spinners. We've got a young Indian keeper that I'm really excited to look at as well. I've got all my sheets and homework. I've been doing all that sort of stuff. So I think what we've got, you also look at some of the players we've got, specifically guys like Dimitri Mascarenhas. If you're picking a World 2020 team, I reckon he'd just about be in it. Graeme Smith at the top of the order, I think, has made the most runs in international cricket 2020.
Shane Watson?
Shane Watson's another player. So I think we've got, Yunus Khan, Akmal.
Yes,
I mean,
Sohail Tanveer.
Yeah, we've got, I believe, specific players that can play 2020 really well. I'm not saying Chris Gale isn't a fantastic 2020 player either, Adam Gilchrist, these sort of players as well. But I think what we've got, value for money from the players we've got. And I think 2020 are all about putting together a team and gelling a team together, letting them know their roles, what we expect of them. I think we've got a really good mix. So that's why I'm really excited about being captain and the coach of the side, because I believe we've got a really good mix. And I don't think there's not going to be too many egos flying around. I think we're all just going to be in it together, be on the same bus, and we're just going to play and have some fun.
And of course, there's Shane Warne. But you mentioned Graeme Smith there. There's history between Shane Warne and Graeme Smith, and plenty of it. First of all, have you chatted about the fact that you've displaced him as captain? He naturally comes to cricket fields and expects to captain teams. Now he's going to have to listen to you.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but look, I think Graeme Smith's vice captain, and I think that's been announced. So look, together, it would be interesting working together. Sometimes when you play against people, him and myself and Graeme have had a lot of little run-ins on the field. I suppose that's because we keep beating them, and he's been the captain, so he's been a bit frustrated. But I'm really looking forward to looking and picking his brain about how he prepares about going about 2020 cricket, how he approaches it, and hopefully I can learn some stuff off him, and maybe he can learn 1 or 2 things off me too. But I'll be looking to him for a lot of support, a lot of help, and help me, mould these younger players and passing on our knowledge as experienced players with Yunus Khan, as well as experienced international players that hopefully they can learn something of us. So I'm looking forward to it. Contrary to what people think, I'm actually looking forward to it.
You're not going to sledge him? No reason
I probably will, as a teammate.
Enduring legacy of modern cricket, and you will get asked this, Shane, so I might as well be the first Indian journalist to ask you this. Is Shane Warne versus Sachin Tendulkar one of the great battles of the modern game? You must be thirsting to take on the Mumbai Indians in the IPL.
Look, to me, Sachin Tendulkar, I did my top 50 players. I wrote my article in the Times about my top 50 players, and I just about penciled him in first. Him and Brian Lara, there's a lot of talk about who's the best, and to me, just the way Sachin conducts himself, the way he goes about things, the way he accepts umpires' decisions, which he's unfortunately had a few shockers, and just the way he plays. I think every single time we played against Sachin, you knew. I remember the first test match in 1998, I was meant to have a shoulder operation before that tour, and I thought, nah, I want to go here. It's been 7 or 8 years since I've debuted and got smacked by the Indians, that I want to come here and play. He made, I think, 200 in the warm-up game. We get to the first test match. First ball I bowl, he smacks it for 4. Second ball, he nicks it out, it slipped. And then the way he came out in the second innings and got 170, 180 and won him the game was just fantastic, unbelievable, and one of the best things I've ever seen. So him and I always had a great contest, and I think he knew when he was facing me, he had to bat well, otherwise I'd get him out. And I knew if I didn't bowl well, I'd get smacked, and most of the time he smacked me. But he was fantastic, and I think getting to know him over a long period of time, I consider him a friend too, and I'd like to think we're good friends. So
will you celebrate?
It doesn't mean I don't look forward to bowling against him still. I always look forward to against the best. If they're too good for you on a particular day, so well played. Hopefully you can get them out occasionally though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. If you bowl one of those ripping leg breaks or one of those zooters that come out and it traps Sachin Tendulkar, that will be a celebration, that will be a television moment for the rest of the IPL.
Mate, I tell you, caught deep mid-wicket will do. 2020, a lot of them will be caught on the fence, so anywhere, caught deep cover, anywhere will do.
But you are keen on reviving some of these rivalries, not just Tendulkar, but Dravid, Ganguly, Lakshman. Lakshman, you remember the 281?
I mean, with Laxman, the way he played in that 2001 tour, it was phenomenal, those innings he played. And then I remember coming back in 2004, I got him out the first test match. I said, right, I'm going to get Laxman out this test. I got him out first ball, and I got him out both times in that innings in the first test. So, it's amazing. You look back, and most of the time, I think if my time against Indians, the Indians have had the better of me. But there have been times that when I bowled really well, that I've got them out too. So to me, that's a contest. Sometimes you get them out, sometimes they whack you over the park. That's what you want to see, and I think that's what people want to see. They don't want to see one person dominate all the time. They don't want to see one team dominate all the time. They want to see a contest. And I think, thinking back to the Test series this year and the one-day series in Australia, I think it was a really, really good series.
Shane, I've got to wrap this up, but I want to ask you a couple of other interesting things that have happened. The IPL worked on the concept of iconic players. Yeah. So there were several players given that status because of the city teams they belong to and the status they enjoy in Indian cricket. You'd be interested to know that the only non-Indian who's captain of any of those 8 IPL teams is a gentleman by the name Shane Warne. Are you going to apply for some kind of Indian citizenship or something of that kind? You remained hugely popular here.
Well, first of all, I've always enjoyed coming to India. At times I found it difficult with the heat, bowling 40-odd overs, getting smashed all over the park, and then beating us. I found that sometimes quite difficult, but I've always enjoyed the country. I've always enjoyed the people. I think one of the beautiful things about India is their passion. You can tell about the passion of Indians. I think when you come over here, they're just really passionate about the cricket. And, I enjoy that. And I think one of the things with India also is the respect that they want to see the good players. And I'd like to think that 700-odd Test wickets, I've been a pretty decent player over the years.
Just about okay.
They respect the way I've played and the way, I think they enjoy watching me play. So I'm looking forward to getting around to all over India and looking forward to saying hello to a lot of the fans that have supported me over the years. And hopefully the Jaipur people will get behind the emerging media team, their team here, and we can surprise a few teams. Like our goal is to make the finals. We think, as I said before, our strategies that we had in place right from the word go, I think we've put together an excellent mix of players that I think just might surprise a few people.
Anil Kumble did a press conference the other, in fact a felicitation at the BCCI the other day, and he said one of my closest friends is Shane Warne in cricket, and I want to thank him.
Said that?
Anil Kumble said that, and the fact that he got 600 Test wickets. One of the men he mentioned as he went up on stage was you. Do you think he'll go past 700?
I hope so. Look, Anil Kumble is one of the gentlemen of the game. He's just a pure gentleman, and I'm really happy for him that he's captain of India too, because I think he's done a wonderful job. He is a good friend as well. I consider him a really good friend, Anil, and I wish him all the best. He's just one of those guys. There's some players you just want to see do well, and Anil's one of those guys that even though you play against him, you hope he gets the wickets. He's and don't let the gentleman and the nice, quiet nature. He's very, very competitive as well. So it's been a pleasure to play against him, to play with him in Hong Kong recently, and just to know him as a friend over a long period of time. I wish him all the best.
You mentioned the Australia series. One or two final questions for you. The Australia series hugely followed here. India did extremely well, test matches as well as one-days. Can India knock the Aussies off the pedestal, you think, especially because they've lost Shane Warne, they've lost Adam Gilchrist, they've lost Langer, they've lost people of that kind, and you know, the team seems a little bit weaker, at least the experts think so.
Look, when you get, you know, McGrath, Warne, Gilchrist, Langer, Martin, these sort of guys retire, it creates opportunity. And there are a lot of good players in Australia that I think Australia will stay #1 for a while, especially in test match arena. One days, you know, it's a bit of a different story. You lose Gilchrist and McGrath in the one days. They're two big players to lose. And India showed, you know, if you play well, you can still beat Australia. They're not unbeatable. But look, there's a lot of good players, and it'll create some opportunity, and there's some good players to step in. So I think Australia will still stay at the top of the heap for a while. But it's great to see contests, like I said before, like this summer with India. I wish they had held on. Well, I'm glad they didn't. But if they had held on in Sydney, it would have been a drawn series, and they won the one days. So all in all, I think it was a successful tour.
Final question for you. What's life like these days?
Very hectic. But look, it's great spending time with my children. The business opportunities are fantastic. They're going extremely well. As I said before, my foundation, we've distributed $2 million to different children's charities. The poker's going pretty good. I'm improving on that. So life's pretty good.
All right, Shane Warne, thank you very much. We
No
look
worries.
forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing you. Thank you.
Good on you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.